This link. Before we start, I want to explain how this document will work. Each time I send out a nugget of learning, it will be linked on this landing page. The hope is that you will have a home to where you can learn, collect, relate, and apply your learning. Each section will hold the learning and ideas to consider. Use this as your organizer. Feel free to make a copy, make it your own. However, each time I send an email with updated learning, you will have to make a new copy because there will be new learning attached. So with that, let's launch learning. Here we go. So, launching into learning. Welcome to your journey in building and understanding and applying levels of complexity in learning. We often hear this as surface, deep, and transfer. In my previous email, I mentioned having an open mind and being willing to be reflective and ask questions. It is important as teachers that we be as willing as our students to be in the learner's seat. My goal is not to give you all the information you may need and wish you well, but rather to provide you with learning opportunities to discover what it means to open your classroom to all levels of learning and design experiences that provide learners with real-world connections. Before I introduce you to the learning intention and criteria that I hope you take away from all this, I want to start by saying most of all, if not all, references I make in each nugget of learning is supported by Michael McDowell and John Hattie. Their research, experiences, and words of wisdom will help to propel our thinking forward when it comes to surface, deep, and transfer learning. A few of the images on this slide should help you start thinking about the learning levels of surface, deep, and transfer, and how it is not a linear progression, but more of a cycle, kind of like this image in the middle. A cycle that we move in and out of as we acquire information, make meaning, and actually apply what we know. Put it to use, some may say. The table at the top is a sorted list of verbs that help you think about what it is we're asking learners to do. Also at the bottom of the slide is an image from Stonefield Schools in New Zealand. Some of you may remember the principal, Sarah Martin, visiting LPS a few years ago, talking with us about the learning process, assessment-capable learners, and learner dispositions. With the image, I think you might find it interesting to see how they view surface, deep, and transfer as building knowledge, making meaning, and applying understanding. Last but not least, you will notice at the bottom of each slide is a quote from Michael McDowell. This is a quote that I think will resonate with you as you learn more about surface, deep, and transfer. With all this, hold it in your back pocket as we navigate our way through our own learning process. As you would start with any learning experience, I want to share my hope for you. My hope is stated in the learning intention. You will learn to design learning experiences that provide learners with real-world connections and application. We will do this by the success criteria. I can define the different levels of complexity in learning, surface, deep, and transfer. I can connect or relate the levels of complexity in learning to my own learning or to the learning I provide in the classroom. And last, I can apply my understanding of the different levels of complexity in learning to ensure my students are learning at all levels. So now on to learning nugget number 1. So we're going to go back to the platform and we're going to scroll down to nugget number 1, which is linked right there. So your first exploration will be to look at the linked article using PBL to encourage interdisciplinary work, which is right here. You're welcome to read the entire blog. However, the purpose of this nugget or piece of criteria, you will only need to focus on the rigor defined section. So if you click, you'll find the link right here. And this is the section that I suggest really focusing in on. Now, as you read this section, things that I think you should consider would be rigor and what that means. The second one is, what is surface learning, deep learning, and transfer learning? And then last, how does this connect to real-world learning? And then I've also, another resource I linked is a blog from Learning Currents that helps to define surface, deep, and transfer learning. Remember, this nugget is to support you and your learning. This is not intended to be an assignment, but more of a support to help you grow as a lead learner. As you wrap up your learning, please consider what you will be able to do as a result of your learning, and that is back on your landing page. So as a result of your learning, you will be able to inform others about the levels of complexity in learning. And with that, I'm going to give you a challenge to inform your students and or families about the levels of learning. Good luck. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to meet with you too and talk more about the definitions of surface, deep, and transfer.